Well, thank you very much, Andrew, and it's a real pleasure to be here on this very special year for the Provision Trade Federation, since it's your 130th anniversary. And during that time, I know that you have steered this industry through some extraordinary changes. You've helped dairy, bacon, ham producers and other cured meat producers through the latter stages of the Industrial Revolution, through some huge technological advances, the growth of refrigeration, the growth of worldwide trade, new markets emerging and coming on stream with production from countries like New Zealand and Australia. You've seen your members through 2 world wars. You've seen the rise of supermarkets. You've obviously seen us join the EEC, and you're shortly going to see us leave the EU. And I'm going to come back to that a little later. But this is an incredibly important sector of our economy. Food and farming is worth over £110 billion per year. Throughout the supply chain, this is an industry that employs 4 million people. We're seeing a growth in exports, now going well past £18 billion. And I know that you represent some of the sectors that are most heavily involved in trade, whether importing or exporting. And the Provisional Trade Federation represents some of the sectors where we've got some great opportunities when it comes to trade. Our dairy industry is world class. While there's been 2 very difficult years for dairy farmers, we have some great export opportunities in markets like the United States, like Brazil, and like China. And I can say as well, I know you've added seafood to your list of industries that you represent. I think that Andrew Kike probably had something to do with that. Your Director General is very well qualified for this role, and indeed representing fisheries, since he was well trained at DEFRA, which was one of the early parts of his career. Now, I want to say a little bit about the decision last June to leave the European Union. The truth is, there's no easy way to take really big decisions in life. And that's the same whether you're expanding your business, whether you're selling your business, whether you're getting married, or even for that matter, whether you're getting divorced. When you take big decisions, it makes people feel apprehensive. And it's natural that some people will feel apprehensive as we now embark on this process of leaving the European Union. This week marked a major step forward with the House of Commons clearing the bill that will authorise the triggering of Article 50, which we plan to do by the end of March. And all I can say is that in DEFRA, there is a huge amount of analysis and detailed work that's being done, looking at the opportunities that Brexit presents, but also looking at some of the challenges and some of the issues that we need to resolve during that negotiation process. Now, given the long pedigree and history that the PTF has in global international trade, I think it's important that I say a word about trade. As the Prime Minister's made clear, we're going to leave the single market and we're going to leave the common external tariff. But beyond that, we are keen to put in place an incredibly close working partnership with our European partners. We want a very bold, very ambitious, and very comprehensive customs agreement so that trade for British businesses can carry on pretty much as it is now, and so that we can still enjoy those very close trading relationships. There are, of course, other issues that we'll have to resolve, things like the WTO schedule and how we carve up the various tariff rate quotas on different products. There are issues around fisheries. Of course, we have trade agreements as well with countries like Iceland and Norway that are outside the customs union for many of the sectors that you represent. And we also have to work out the type of trading relationship that we're going to put in place with those countries. Beyond trade, there are some really good opportunities, in my view, to change policy for the better, to think things through from first principles. In the case of agriculture, we've got a great opportunity to reform what is currently an incredibly bureaucratic policy with lots of deadweight costs, lots of unnecessary administration. and to replace it with a brand new policy that's fit for purpose in the 21st century. So we're looking at a whole range of options, from risk management measures to help businesses, initiatives that will help to improve productivity on farms and support investment on farms, initiatives that can celebrate our high animal welfare standards and deal with some of the issues such as antimicrobial resistance, and of course policies to better deliver for our environment with locally tailored policies. And in fisheries, which I know is of interest to many of you, we will be able to take back control of our exclusive economic zone. We will be able to argue for a fairer share of quotas on some species, particularly things like cod and haddock in the West Country. And crucially, we'll regain our seat at the table on some of those important annual negotiations with Norway and with other coastal states such as Faroes and Iceland. So in conclusion, we really look forward to working with industry, with yourselves, as we embark on this process, as we design post-Brexit policy. As I said, we are incredibly keen on putting in place a close working relationship and close trading relationship with our European partners. And I know that as members of the PTF with such a long history in global trade, that is something that you will welcome. We're shortly going to be publishing some green papers, and there'll then be a very intense process of engaging with industry. Now that's all I've got to say for now. I know that I'm already meeting many of you in the months ahead to discuss some of the challenges that we have. But I hope you enjoy this evening. I'm sorry that I can't stay with you. Apart from anything else, I'm not properly dressed for it, as I noticed. But it's a real pleasure to be here to open proceedings, and I hope you had a lovely evening. Thank you.